Hello again. Good evening and welcome to Weekend File. I'm glad you could join us again. I can promise you that this is the real deal. I am Joseph Johnson. Well, let's take a moment down memory lane before we go neck deep into the nitty-gritty of today's focus. Now, far back in time, West Africa used to be the hub of the palm industry. British West Africa alone exported 157,000 tons, out of which about 75% came from Nigeria. In the 1870s, the British administrators took the plant to Malaysia, and in the 1934, the country surpassed Nigeria as the largest exporter of the plant. Nigeria's dominance in world trade in palm oil dwindled, accounting for a mere 1.57%. Indonesia leads with 33 million metric tons and Malaysia 19.8 million. Now, despite Nigeria's comparative advantage in oil palm production, the country spends huge sum of money, running into three-digit billions of naira. For instance, in 2017, domestic production of oil palm was estimated at 970,000 metric tons, could not match up with a demand of 2.7 million tons to meet up with the demand deficit. It was, however, reported that Nigeria imported more than 450,000 tons of palm oil, worth more than 116 billion naira. Over time, however, the Nigerian government made various attempts to reverse the dwindling fortunes of palm oil production to change the scenarios in tune with the vision of diversifying the economy. The federal government directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to initiate partnership with 11 palm oil producing states with a view to reviving the sector. According to the Apex Bank, this was as a result of the federal government's resolve to restore the country to its pride of place as one of the leading global producers of palm oil. In fact, the plan is to put Nigeria in number 3 on the chart of palm oil producing countries. This is the outlook of Weekend File this Saturday. I'm Joseph Johnson. The news comes first. The federal government has described as satisfactory the progress made to clear the Apapa gridlock with a view to restoring commercial activities. Vice President Yemi Osibajo stated this shortly after an inspection of the area. Nosa Osula reports.
The Vice President, who is the head of the Presidential Task Force on the Apapa gridlock, was in Lagos to oversee the progress made to clear trucks around the axis. He noted that government is set to improve infrastructure and call-up system for trucks in the ports while working on harnessing opportunities of the intermodal transport system.
There are several aspects of the tasks that have to be done. First, there is infrastructure around the ports, and I'm sure that you've seen going around with us that a lot of that is going on. A lot of it is being done, and we think that we're in a very good place, especially with respect to the improvement of the infrastructure. The other thing is in clearing of the trailers and tankers along the various routes, and I'm sure that you've seen that there's considerable improvement. The Mile 2 end of it is where there is some difficulty, but we think that in the next couple of days that should be resolved, especially with the opening up of the Tinkan Island trailer park and the palliative work that's going on all the way down to Mile 2.
The team inspected the Lily Pond Transit Truck Park, Creek Road and Tinkan Island ports. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osibajo has departed for the United States, where he will be meeting with his United States counterpart Mike Pence and other key groups and interests in the country. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President Laolu Akonde, indicates that ahead of his meeting with Mike Pence in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, Vice President Osibajo will be meeting with the Council on Foreign Relations on Monday in New York. The The Vice President would be discussing matters of mutual interests between Nigeria and the US with Vice President Mike Pence, while he would also speak on Nigeria's economic prospects and other related matters in his meeting with the Council on Foreign Relations. Vice President Osibajo is expected back in Abuja on Thursday. Now, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, wants the Bauchi State Governor, Bala Mohammed, to respect the sanctity of the Bauchi State House of Assembly. He gave the warning in Abuja following the inauguration and election of Speaker of the Assembly by 11 lawmakers loyal to the governor out of the elected 31. The immediate past Governor Mohammed Abubakar led the aggrieved members to the APC National Secretariat in Abuja.
The laws are clear. Democracy is a game of numbers. Minority can never preside over majority in a democracy. In fact, I'm told we have APC 22, PDP 8, and NNPP 1. We will stand by you, we will start with you, and together we will ensure that the rule of law prevails in Bauchi State.
Oshiomhole said the party would ensure the police did the right thing in Bauchi State by providing cover for the parliament and securing lives of members. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons has developed an action plan aimed at strengthening the capacity of states and other institutions to support and protect victims of human trafficking. The Director General of the agency, Dame Julie Donnelly, stated this while on an advocacy visit to Agege local government area of Lagos State. Michael Olale reports.
Agege local government has the highest prevalence rate of human trafficking in Lagos, according to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. Apart from being densely populated, it has one of the few motor parks for commuters plying the West African route. This factor explains why NAPTIP considered this location as pivotal in its anti-trafficking drive.
You're committing the act of human trafficking.
The Director General of the agency called for vigilance as traffickers are always devising new antics to achieve their aims.
You meet somebody on the internet and he says he lives abroad, you don't even know him, you don't know his family, and then you get married to him and he takes you there. You know what he does to you? He forces you into prostitution. He now becomes your pimp. He now pimps you out to 5, 10, 20 men every day and they pay him.
The chairman of the local government promised to intensify surveillance in curbing the menace.
We are doing a whole lot of things to discourage our people from doing all this.
Bariga is another locality with shared similarity like Agege. But here the campaign was taken to a prominent girls' secondary school where the Director General was a student 35 years ago. NAPTIP advocacy in stemming the tide of human trafficking is however yielding results as Nigeria has now moved from the watch list to Tier 2 in the 2019 U.S. report on human trafficking. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
The Comptroller General of Nigeria Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede, has read the riot acts to officers who engaged in corrupt and sharp practices in Lagos. He gave the warning when he addressed the officers and men of the Immigration Service formations on the Zone A, Lagos. Ken Egboluge has details.
In compliance with the Federal Government Executive Order 01 on transparency and ease of doing business in the country, the Comptroller General of Nigeria Immigration Service has taken the bull by the horn. This is to ensure that officers and men contribute their quota to the economic development of the country through facilitation of corrupt-free atmosphere for direct foreign investment. The Comptroller General warned them to avoid aiding and abetting service seekers in the procurement of documents.
This is a guide to officers, especially at the time when we are rolling a new booklet in Ikoyi. Officers need to know that business has changed. Government will not accept a situation where things are compromised for personal interest. If we put bottleneck in the service we deliver, we are making our country to retrogress. For our country to be better, we must be efficient and committed to justice and equity.
He, however, encouraged officers and men to take advantage of facilities provided by the service to build their capacity, especially on ICT. In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
Wife of the Vice President Dolapo Osibajo has inaugurated an exhibition tagged One Day for Handcrafters to encourage and nurture entrepreneurs and young talents for empowerment export promotion. Amaka reports that the events, which held in Lagos, had the wives of the Lagos State Governor and Deputy Governor in attendance.
Wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Osibajo, who specializes in knitting and crocheting, accompanied by wives of Lagos State Governor and Deputy Governor, visited various exhibition stands to see an array of items on display.
Art is very calm, it's very exciting. I like what I saw today, especially the children. It has encouraged the children so that apart from them just playing with their Game Boys, they can use the art to be calm.
You don't even have to be going abroad, going overseas to get all these things. We can enhance our heritage. We get a lot of beautiful, beautiful stuff.
It's a thing that will bring joy to so many homes. It's going to create more jobs. It's going to feed for the less privileged ones.
It was a show of creativity as persons, irrespective of their age, gender, and social status, left no one in doubt with regards to what they can do with their hands.
I do a lot of things. I knit cardigans, sweaters, mufflers, caps, things for babies, anything girls can do.
I produce cap, shoes, and sometimes we do crochet for charity.
Call it a competition and you won't be wrong, as creativity of some students were put to the test. The exhibition also had the private sector providing a digital platform for these individuals. Over 100 handcrafters showcased their products. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
Well, let's turn to religious matters now, because intending pilgrims for this year's Hajj exercise will have a discount of 260 Saudi riyals, equivalent to $165. Now, this is coming as the Commission extends deadline for registration of the Hajj exercise. Yusuf Umar has details.
The downward review of the 2019 Hajj fares by National Hajj Commission is as a result of Saudi Arabian Ministry of Hajj and Umrah decision on the reclassification of land transportation route that will be used by Nigeria's pilgrims in the forthcoming Hajj.
Nigerian pilgrims from all states of the Federation, the FCT and Army forces are now to pay 51,170 naira 45 kobo less than the fares earlier announced. The Commission has directed all state Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Boards, state, the FCT and Army forces to immediately announce the review and commence refunds to pilgrims that have paid over the reviewed fair.
The Commission also extended the pilgrims' registration deadline to 15th of July, urging all intending pilgrims to conclude their payment and other necessary registration procedures before the end of the new date. In Abuja, Yusuf Umar, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Sea of Galilee, people of Israel, beyond being a religious site that attracts the attention of tourists from all over the world. In this report, importance of the sea
of Galilee, also known as Kinneret, meaning violin in Hebrew language, which is believed to be the shape of the lake. This lake is the largest freshwater body in Israel, occupying 64 square miles, nearly the size of Washington, D.C. Water, they say, is life. Hence, the Sea of Galilee is life to the people of Israel, as it is the largest source of fresh drinking water, supplying about 1/3 of the nation's annual water requirement. Apart from this, the sea also contributes to the country's gross domestic product, as it is a significant source of commercial fishing, and the surrounding area grows cotton, bananas, and dates. In addition, the sea, which is a pilgrimage site for many Christians, is believed to be where Jesus Christ walked on the water, and before his ascension, Jesus appeared to 7 of his disciples in a final miracle catch of fish. The earthly ministry of Jesus Christ commenced from DC, and Galilee is one of the holy sites in Israel.
Believing God that everything shall be stable and all right in our country, security-wise, socially, and economically, it shall be well with us.
Testimony of the Sea of Galilee is that no matter what, even Jesus said, if you as a man you cannot do it, he will do it himself. He can calm the storm down in Nigeria, and I believe.
Nigeria is now going to stand on this water to walk with peace.
I'm seeing Jesus calming the storms of my life and the life of my family and my country as well.
Tourists often stop by the ancient natural hot springs that are nearby the sea, believed to have therapeutic effects. From the Sea of Galilee, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
This is Weekend File. Correspondence reports from across the states is next. Join us again.
Enjoy the best of African football as NTA, Africa's largest television network and hotspots, Nigeria's foremost sports production and marketing company, bring you all 52 matches of the Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 live from June 21 to July 19, 2019. Yes, all 52 games will hit your screens in crystal clear digital quality. It's your guarantee of a memorable viewing experience and a wonderful cost-effective opportunity for corporate Nigeria to reach tens of millions of Nigerians. For sponsorship and commercial support, contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. Hot Sports, masters of the game. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hot Sports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's begin from Lafia in Nasarawa State, where there is high concentration of small-holding oil palm plantations and processors. Abari Solomon reports that all that may be needed to scale up production of oil palm and its value chain is appropriate policy to drive access and inputs.
In the neighborhood of Lafia, Abimiku Hassan and Godia Obeli, village head of Farinkasa community, contribute to the growth of palm oil production, put at 75,000 metric tons annually. Ownership is by small holding by individual farmers and families across the state. Like in areas with comparative advantage and flourishing of plantation and associate products, the sector has impact on poverty eradication, employment and food security in Nasarawa State. But there are challenges in the value chain affecting growth.
I appeal to the government if they can be able to help us by just digging us just a one borehole, we will be happy for that.
The State Agricultural Organization says creating awareness on the way forward to promote oil palm production in tune with federal government renewed commitment for the sector is important.
If you want to go into production, it's capital intensive in terms of the procuring the seedlings and then the time it takes before you make a turnover. We have a lot of potential for the production, but our farmers don't have the access now to these improved varieties.
At sale outlets of processed palm oil, it is business as usual as the product remains in demand by customers, but dealers say there are challenges.
It is a profitable business that are helping the unemployed people.
One of the areas of priority by the new administration in Nasarawa State is industrialization, with processing of agricultural produce like palm oil expected to receive a boost. In Lafia, Abari Solomon, NTA News.
Kinsley on the news report gives us an insight into the effect of oil palm imports on the production in Imo State. Kinsley reports that farmers are now hopeful that federal government's recent ban on importation of the produce into the country will revive oil palm production in the state.
Production and plantation of oil palm was the backbone of the Imo people's economy in early 60s and 70s before the advent of the oil boom. Regrettably, all the efforts being made by the successive administrations in Imo State have not been able to yield the much anticipated dividends. This development, stakeholders say, was occasioned by non-patronage of the local oil products by some Nigerians who prefer the foreign ones.
When we no get equipment, the foreign oil from Malaysia, Ghana and the other foreign countries that is entering our own country, they don't spoil our own.
As a result of importation of tallow and foreign palm oil, the local palm oil industry is not flourishing.
It is pertinent to know that past and present administrations in Imo State have been showing serious interest in boosting oil palm production through one program or the other.
The state is planning to plant 100,000 hectares of oil palm with this administration.
The mill has deteriorated due to lack of maintenance, coupled with the age of the mill. Most of the mill components have gone obsolete. So there is every need for rehabilitation.
The company, before its present condition, was the highest revenue generating agency of the state government some years ago. Kinsley on the news.
Edo State has over 5,000 small-scale registered oil palm farmers, but the challenge for them is accessing finance. Ogochukwu Kaona reports.
Edo State has over 100,000 hectares of oil palm plantation cutting across the biggest privately owned and small-scale oil palm farms.
Area planted and producing. Okomo has planted over 32,000 hectares. Presco over 28,000 hectares. Agri palm over 4,000 hectares. And some smallholders.
They get about 18 to 20 tons. 1 hectare of 150 palms, if the farm is properly and well managed in terms of doing the weeding, doing the slashing, and doing the pruning of the palms.
The smallholder farmers are still looking forward to the federal government's special fund interventions, especially that of CBN's Anchor Borrowers Program and the Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme.
I'll tell you, nothing has happened to date because oil palm is the future of this country. It's called the red gold because from oil palm you can get a lot. You can get the palm oil, you can get the palm kernel oil.
The Nigerian Institute for Oil Palm Research, NIFO, has the mandate to provide high-yielding seedlings to the farmers.
Ours is about the cheapest in the world. What we provide to farmers yield in 2.5 years after the nursery stage. So, and they have the capacity to produce as much as between 20 to 35 metric tons of fruits per year.
Yes, the only intervention we're having now is training. The intervention you are always talking of is always cash. Cash will come, but you should know the right planting seedlings before you are giving cash.
If these are implemented and sustained, they believe the revival of the farms would be a success. In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend File, broadcast live on the network service of the NTA. My guest, Igwe Hilary Uche, President, All Palm Growers Association of Nigeria, joins me in just a moment. Stay with us.
Father is a palm wine tapper. Before him, his father was a palm wine tapper. Perhaps his own father was a palm wine tapper as well.
He was. His name was Aremu Elemu.
This is one of our neighbors where I live and go to school. My mother has sold boli and ekpa since I was born. So did her mom. I have a brother who hasn't been the same since the day he saw his favorite artist play live. And me, I'm going to be a big filmmaker soon. I get enough practice with the data my uncle gets from Glow.
Data is oxygen. Enjoy the best data deal in town. Buy your SIM, dial *777#. Your #1 4G network nationwide.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms. Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
You're still watching Weekend File. I did say just before the break that Igwe Hilary Uche, President, All Palm Growers Association of Nigeria, joins me in the studio. Igwe Hilary, it's nice to have you here with me on Weekend File.
Thank you very much.
All right, just to start off, let's have more insight on this federal government's initiative on reviving the oil palm plantations. What's the target, really?
Oh, fantastic. You see, I feel like Nigeria should be dancing with that vision.
Okay.
It's like a drowning horse that came for a rescue.
Mm.
The oil palm sector is a life-giving Nigerian for the fact that the federal government has now remembered and know the importance of oil palm. It will bet me Nigeria will get up immediately. If the program, the way they have fashioned it, they should implement it that way without diversing or trying to digress. In the next 3-4 years, Nigeria can never remain the same. Because oil palm, with all the value chain, is the only commodity that can compete with the crude oil and give Nigeria life, peace, and all you require in this country. I believe very strongly.
Okay, let's talk about this election, because I understand that there are about 11 states to specifically benefit from the program. So what's the criteria for the selection?
You mean 11 states?
Yes.
Benefiting from the program?
From the program.
No, can't be only 11 states unless they want to sanction it down to the south. Otherwise, we have already captured Plateau, Nasarawa. I myself, as the president, I sent seedlings to Plateau State, sent to Nasarawa State, because they have large area of land. Okay. And oil palm, you know, requires where you have a lot of land. In the south, quite all right, we have enough land. But we need a situation where Nigeria will understand that commodity that can help the country should be invested on.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the implementation. How is it going to be implemented?
Really, like I would tell you, let there be no sentiment.
Okay.
Or trying to do something, this is my party member, this is that. That destroys the country. I believe from the problems Nigeria is having in economy, and now they have identified a way out, there must be a policy to develop oil palm sector. And they should work strictly to the policy, like the Federal Minister of Science, Industry and Investment. They are now building up a policy for which I'm a member. If this policy should come out, and the federal government, the central bank, work straight to this policy, that will give Nigeria what they want. Let there be no sentiment. And let the governors understand that this country is ours. If it goes down, everybody will go down. Let them help, like in the north. The governors in the north help farmers. They support farmers. They encourage farmers. Let the governors in the south do the same. And stop concessioning some of the projects left by the former administration. Like in Imo State, you can see Apapa. How can somebody go now to concession Apapa to a private partner, a private company, when the federal government wants now to put more effort and make Apapa yield more than it's yielding? It will bring in a situation where of these dissidents, and the moment they're employed, you can imagine peace coming up. So what is this? If these projects are faced squarely, strictly, let not be running the country as if it is somebody's project. Let me come and take my money and go. Let me come and do this and go. Let them run the country as if it is their own property. The children growing are their children. Any project that is coming up, any incoming government will follow up. Like Akunwumi left for Audobe. Audobe took off. There was continuity in government. That's why you see what is coming up now. They were procuring some equipment for farmers, helping farmers, building everything for farmers to grow up. The moment the next minister came, they followed up. There was continuity. Let there be such continuity in Nigeria. Nigeria has no reason to complain in terms of economy. They have all it takes to build up very strong economy in this country. Nobody should complain.
Okay, so I also understand that the Agri Ministry, there is a plan to, help in accessibility, so the loan, getting the loan from the CBN, is the Agri Ministry, providing that?
That's the same thing I'm saying. If this loan coming up for the oil palm sector should be well directed straight to the farmers. Like I am now helping to queue up the farmers in clusters. One cluster means in a place you have oil mill. You have oil palm plantation owners around the oil mill. And these plantation owners will be feeding the mill with FFB. These people can come as a group, one cluster. Then they will assess loan. Because there is that fear of giving individuals loan in this country and to attend to Israel. But when they come in a group, there will be competition. The production will be competitive. Paying back will be competitive. Nobody would like to be left behind. They will guarantee each other. And no reasonable person can come in a group and mess himself up. Even that anybody that goes down, others will cop it up. Other, if there are 7 in one cluster, and maybe 1 goes down, the other 6 will bring it up and help the money to continue moving. Because loan is when you carry, you pay back. It can then be used to other things. And not when you pick loan, it becomes a, what do you call it? It becomes a grant. Loan, as far as now they are putting it at 9%, is good for farmers. If it comes to the farmers, they manage it. Let them be not individuals. And this loan they are talking about, let it go straight to the smallholders. The big firms like Presco, they don't need Nigerian money. These other big firms, I'm just telling you, they don't need Nigerian money. And they have their sponsors overseas. And most of their dividend go there. And they are occupying the 20% of the production of oil palm in this country. They have no impact in Nigeria economy. The smallholders are the ones that have impact in Nigeria economy because their products goes nowhere. It's within the circle. It's just like rice production, groundnut production during these days. It's through the smallholders you get this pyramid of rice. That's the same thing in oil palm production. The smallholders will build up and the oil will be moving out. If you sponsor them correctly, there will be boost. And if oil palm comes to help this country, crude oil, you discover that crude oil has no much a part to play. In some countries, they have their crude oil. They don't tamper with it. They go with palm oil for everything. Whatever you call it. They use palm oil to do motorbike and whatever you think about it. So what I mean now is that if they should sponsor and empower these smallholders, Nigeria will have a leverage, very strong leverage.
Okay, but what will be the contribution of these benefiting states to the program itself?
Jesus, benefiting states, like I'm telling you, if it's well harnessed, you discover that oil palm is prone to activities that employ more hands. If it is in the seedling production, it will employ more youths. If it is in the harvesting, it will employ more youths. If it's in the processing, you discover what will happen. So there will be more employment of jobless roaming about young boys in this country and girls. So oil palm production will go a long way to reduce employment problem in this country. I believe that very strongly.
Okay, so how will you describe the ban, of the federal government on importation?
The ban on this importation of crude palm oil is the only way out to help Nigeria grow in palm oil production. Because when these other countries smuggle in, you discover that the smallholder will not have much to go into farming. And the price of the oil palm will be useless, that in the case of selling, the smallholders can no longer grab any momentum to continue their farming. So that is why we were very happy to hear the central bank governor putting a very strong mandate to stop the importation Unlike what happens before, when they say they ban this, tomorrow you see other people coming from the another corner to bring the same thing inside. And I don't know whether the country has control or not. But the way he has put it, I believe any reasonable human being can no more go into importing oil palm.
Okay, so how would the current effort by the Central Bank of Nigeria assist in repositioning Nigeria's to reoccupy its position, its pride of place?
Let me hear you again.
How would the current effort by the Central Bank of Nigeria help, in repositioning Nigeria back to its pride of place?
You see, what the Central Bank is doing now is just like God's design project or program, in the sense that oil palm will go a long way to resuscitate the country. Really, there are other commodities, rice and others. But in the case of oil palm is the only commodity that can compete with crude oil, which Nigeria had all their hope on and neglected oil palm. The moment this vision is carried out, Nigeria will have a different face. Oil palm projects will reduce unemployment almost to 0 point if well implemented. You see, why I continue saying well implemented is our Nigeria get
Of
us
course, that's usually the issue, because
the politicians will now
policies.
hijack much of the effort of the governor of Central Bank, and he will be in his office. Other people will be doing another thing.
Many would say that the problem with Nigeria, first off, is implementation, because there are lots of policies, on ground, but the power, the willpower to implement these policies.
Let me just tell you
the issue.
This oil palm production or projects has certain things they require. The oil palm farmers require tricycles to go into the crews of the plantation and gather the fruits, harvested fruits. Why? If they are quickly gathered, they can produce SPO. But if this
sorry, what's the SPO there?
SPO is the special palm oil.
Okay.
And that is what is needed in the international market.
What makes it special?
Fine. The period between harvesting and processing determines the SPO.
Okay.
Yes. If it is quickly harvested and processed, you get SPO.
Usually we have a very poor processing.
It is because of what I'm just telling you.
I recall I went with the Ministry of Niger Delta to some of the oil-producing states, because they were inaugurating some of the oil palm processing plants. And I saw, because before now, I've been seeing the process these oil palm farmers go through to get, the produce at the end of the day. So are you also considering, the products, the output itself?
It's just because they lack that government support. If they have enough support, the farmer will have a harvester. The moment it starts fruiting, they'll have a harvester. The harvester will harvest quickly and get production quantity, milling quantity at a time. If you waste time, it can't get you can't get the special palm oil, which is the main thing you need in oil palm.
But seriously, what is the situation at the moment? I mean, in this state, what is the ideal situation? Because their contribution will help, bring Nigeria back to its pride of place. What is the ideal situation in these states?
The situation that is making things lower is that the farmers continue crying that they need support. The support is when these seedlings are given out, like Akinwumi started, they have more plantation. When they have more plantation, you can discover now, during the fruiting, they have much to harvest. When they harvest without this harvester, you discover that the climbers will waste time to produce a milling quantity. And that will continue wasting the whole time to bring down the quality of the palm oil. You understand that now?
Yes.
And when you bring down the quality of the palm oil, you can work for so many years, still you are where you are. But when the quality of the palm oil is high, there is international requirement.
But talking about the quality of palm oil, to boost yields, is there any plan to introduce new variety of palm trees?
Already,
because you talked about special palm oil.
Already we have good variety from NIFO.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
We have good variety from NIFO, of palm seedling. Okay. What we require now is pushing them into the soil, creating chances of expansion. Then harvesting will follow up. Then milling will follow up. Most of these farmers, most of these plantation owners have no mill. And they will go to harvest and sell the FFB to these manual millers.
FFB?
That is fresh fruit bunches.
Okay.
That's FFB. Those fresh
we are educating the public as well.
That's FFB, yes. Fresh fruit bunches. When they gather their own, they will have no mill to mill. They will push it to the manual millers, who will then waste time before they mill. So that's what is going down everything.
Good. So let me just get your final thought before I let you go, Igwe. What is your thought? What do you think can be done to get out of this quagmire?
Period. That's why I said that now that the central bank has brought out this vision, let us follow it strictly, direct to the farmers, direct to the smallholders who have all these plantations. They have all these mills. You discover that there will be mills. That's why we are forming clusters now, so that every plantation owner must link up with a cluster, with a miller, so that all the FFB will be going to the miller, and they will be milling. The market is always ready. I believe that, as far as I'm concerned. But the point is, if they will be supported, I told you of tricycle. This will help gather all these fresh fruit branches when they are harvested. You know, they are harvested in the plantation there. Problem is carrying them again to the milling point. There are certain measures they took before they become ahead of us. They were taking care of all this, I'm saying. When you give a farmer a plantation, he has 70 hectares of land. Imagine that the harvester will harvest, and those bunches will be lying there. They move straight and gather them to the milling point.
Thank you.
And when it gets to the milling point, what's next? Milling. And the moment it's quickly milled, you get your SPO.
It becomes special.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you very much, Mr. Igwe Hillary, for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, my dear.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, let's quickly get you onto sports now. Nigeria got the first 3 points of Group B at 32nd Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt, as Amanzi Marcus reports.